So as you've read from the description below, this month is my husband and I's birthday month, and I baked us a cake and decorated it. And while I'm showing you guys me decorating the cake and speeding up that film, I figured I would answer some questions. So, first off, the cake was a vegan cake because nobody has time, nobody has money to waste precious eggs on cake. So I actually looked up a vegan recipe and made a vegan cake, and it actually was pretty good. The cake actually tasted like box cake, which I know is not like the greatest cake out there in the world, but for a vegan cake to taste like a box cake, I feel like that was a win. Be kind of generous with me because this was the first time I've decorated a cake in 6 years. My husband and I haven't celebrated our birthdays in 6 years because people tend to die on our birthdays. So we haven't celebrated in 6 years. I also just came off of having a cold, so I cut a lot of corners on making this cake. Like, I didn't cut off the top of the cake to make sure it was flat and even. I didn't do a really great job at doing a crumb layer of frosting, and my frosting was runny, or not as stiff as it should be. But I know I could add more powdered sugar to make it more stiff, but I was too lazy to do that. I was also too lazy to like make sure the green was the right color of green or whatever. So the colors are kind of, or the browns were the right colors. So the browns are kind of off, the greens are kind of an off color. But like I said, it's the first time I've decorated in 6 years. It's also, I was just coming off of a cold, so be a little kind of generous to me. And then third, and most importantly, is that we actually came up with this cake design after seeing the Messy Baker. She does videos on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that. We saw her video one day. My husband and I were doom scrolling together, and we saw her make this beautiful cake that is like a tree stump with flowers and mushrooms on it and mossy things. And she said her cake never sold, and it was, my husband and I were like shocked and awed about that because we thought the cake was beautiful and we wanted a rendition of our own for our birthday. So that's where I got the idea for our birthday cake. So shout out to Messy Baker for helping us come up with a beautiful cake idea, and I'm sorry her cake didn't sell because I thought it was beautiful and perfect. So yeah, now on to watching me make a cake or decorate a cake while I answer questions. First question I get, especially a lot right now, is now that Joann's is going out of business, where can I go to find fabric in person, where I can go and touch and feel the texture of the fabric and the drape and everything? Where can I go? I actually really lucked out on this. I do love Joann's. I do love going and getting fabric from Joann's, but I do get a lot of my fabric from thrift stores. So that is the main bulk of where I do get a lot of my fabric, is local thrift stores. But if I do need to buy a certain type of fabric and I have an idea of what type of fabric I need, or a specialty fabric for a project, I will go to Joann's, or I used to go to Joann's to get that specialty fabric. But where I live in the country, fabric is not hard to come by. I actually live in a very thick Amish and Mennonite community. I'm not Amish, I'm not Mennonite, I just happen to live in a thick Amish Mennonite community. So there is tons of local mom and pop fabric stores nearby. Sadly, most of them only carry cotton or fabrics that are approved by the Amish or Mennonite community. So I do kind of have that problem, but most of like my grocery stores out here carry sewing notions, you know, your buttons, zippers, bias tape, things like that, your threads. Yeah, most of my grocery stores actually carry that out here. It's kind of awesome. I have notions, sewing notions everywhere, easy to come by. And cotton fabric is everywhere, also easy to come by. Non-cotton fabric is where I'm having a bit of a problem. So if I need like knits or specialty like glitter fabrics and stuff like that, I am gonna have a bit more of a problem. But my husband and I have talked about making a day trip to DC and seeing what DC's fabric district has, because they have quite a few nice fabric stores down there. I just haven't actually gone and seen them yet. So, because I'm new to the East Coast. So we need to go to DC and see what the DC fabric district is. Also at the same time, my husband and I have also talked about taking like a 3-day weekend trip and going to New York and seeing what New York City has in their fabric district. Because I bet you New York has a lot of fabric stores and a lot of great cheap fabric stores. But once again, I haven't made the weekend trip, the 3-day, 4-day weekend trip to New York to see what they have. But fabric-wise, if it comes to cotton or anything that the Amish or Mennonite would use, I'm pretty lucky by that. So how long have I been sewing? I've been sewing since I was 8 or 9 years old. I've been sewing since I was like 8, 9, or 10, somewhere around there. One summer, my mom decided, I guess it wasn't one summer, and my mom used to, like, every once in a while teach us new life skills, like how to clean certain things in the house, how to do laundry, how to play the piano. One year, it was how to sew. And so my mom took my sister and I to Joann's. We picked out a fabric that we liked. We picked out a cotton fabric that we both liked, got a yard of that, and then we brought it home and made pillowcases. That was the first thing I learned how to sew, was a pillowcase. And then shortly after that, it was PJ bottoms or pajama bottoms, pajama shirts, and then like a nightgown, a dress, a sleeping dress. But I know by 12th grade, I was more comfortable at sewing. Because I made myself a bunch of pajama bottoms. I hated wearing jeans, and back in the day, in the 90s, it was socially acceptable to only wear like your work attire, dresses, or jeans, and most kids wore jeans to school. Leggings didn't exist, stretchy pants didn't exist back then. And I didn't sit quite ladylike to wear dresses all the time, and I hated wearing jeans. So I made myself, with my mother's help, made myself a bunch of pajama bottoms and wore that to school every day. Well, at least from August to Valentine's Day. And then on Valentine's Day, I got in trouble. Got in trouble for wearing pajamas to school. Nothing like the school principal calling your mom, trying to figure out why you wear pajamas every day for school. And then shortly after, after that day, when I got in trouble for wearing pajama bottoms, my mom made me sweatpants. Because I didn't know how to do the stretchy fabric that sweatpants are. So, but I know by 12, when I was in 7th grade, so I knew by 12 I knew how to sew. Where did I learn how to sew? Or I guess what got me into sewing. What got me into sewing was when I was younger, I grew up with watching my mom make my sister and I Sunday dresses. Like every so many years, my mom would make us a new fancy Sunday dress to wear to church. And then sometimes she would make us play clothes, but every Halloween, we had to decide by July or August what we wanted to be by Halloween, so my mom would have time to make my sister and I our Halloween costume, because we didn't buy store-bought Halloween costumes. They were too expensive and crappily made, like they are nowadays. And so, and also with my creativity, they never had what I wanted to be. Like one year I wanted to be a headstone for Halloween, and so my mom made me a headstone costume. Stores never had what I wanted to be. I wanted to be something that was not traditional. So my mom always made me my Halloween costumes. And then I love that. I love that. And to me, it was so cool to have somebody to make my ideas come to life. And then later on, I started learning how to sew because I wanted comfy clothes, as I said in the story earlier. I wanted comfy clothes. I wanted to be comfortable. So I learned how to sew my own comfy clothes. Then when I was in high school, I sewed a lot of quilts because I wanted blankets. I wanted a bunch of blankets, bedding for my household when I got married. And so I made a bunch of quilts when I was in high school. And then once I got married, I kind of realized this is where I really started booming into the sewing world. Because I realized I no longer had a slave to make my ideas come to life. I didn't have my mother to make my costumes for me or make me cute Sunday dresses anymore. And I had to grow up and do that by myself. And that's when I really, really, really got into sewing, is when I first got married. Because I no longer had anybody to make me cute Sunday dresses or whatever costume cosplay idea I wanted to do. So, losing your slave makes you learn how to sew. Where did I learn how to sew? My mother, actually. Which is funny because my mom's the one who actually asked me this question, is where did I learn how to sew? My mother taught me the basics of sewing. She taught me how to use a sewing machine, how to troubleshoot a sewing machine. She taught me how to read patterns and pretty much that. And then when I was in high school, I took a sewing class in high school. I advanced from that. I kind of learned how to make jackets, put in zippers. I learned how to make skirts and learned how to use a serger and stuff like that. And then after that, it was kind of just figuring it out on my own. I just played around with pattern making, with altering patterns. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it wouldn't, and kind of just figured those things out on my own. And then probably in about 2017, 2018, I started getting into watching YouTubers learn how to sew, and learned a lot about sewing from YouTubers. So that's where I learned how to sew. It was mostly from my mother, a bit from school, a bit from figuring it out on my own, or a lot from figuring it out on my own, and a bit from YouTube. How do I come up with my ideas? That's a tricky question. Mostly I would say Pinterest, because I freaking love Pinterest and I doom scroll Pinterest more than I do like anything else. But I would also say like circumstances, life circumstances. And I say life circumstances because I have a project somewhere right here behind me. I have this project right here behind me, which is I have a nurse costume that I had made in 2021 or 22. And I actually ended up not liking the way it turned out, or the materials I used on it. It ended up getting wrinkly all the time. And for a nurse, that's just not okay. So I ended up wanting to redo it. And when I went to one of the Amish stores, when I first moved out here, it was one of the first fabric stores I went to. I went to an Amish store, and I happened to find the cotton fabric that I wanted, but I also happened to find a fabric that was skull printed, and I loved it. It was white with white skull prints on it. And then all the fabric that was surrounding it was glow-in-the-dark fabric, but the white cotton fabric with the white skulls printed on it was not glow-in-the-dark. And I was devastated, because everything else around it was glow-in-the-dark Halloween stuff, just not that one. So that's how I got the idea of, I want to make a nurse costume with some glow-in-the-dark skulls, all over it. So that is that idea that I'm hoping to get done this summer. But sometimes it's just life. Life comes in the way and I'm like, hey, I want to make dapper Disney stuff, or I find fabric that I like, that I have an idea while I'm seeing it at the thrift store. I want to make a dress like that. So sometimes it's Pinterest, sometimes it just, life happens that it comes to me. So, and then how do I stick to my projects? How do I stick with my projects? To tell you the truth, I don't. I really, really don't. Like I said, there's the nurse costume that I've never quite finished. I have another dress here that I started last summer and I got really, really, really mad and frustrated and never finished it. I have this one right here, which is a dress that I started 4 years ago. Yeah, 4 years ago. Never finished. I'm hoping to finish it this year. I would love to finish it this year. I don't. I really don't. Sometimes I finish the project and sometimes I don't. I have literally 2 boxes of projects, of sewing projects, just sewing projects alone, that I brought across country when I moved across country because I was like, I'm gonna finish these. I've lived here for 2.5 years now, and I've still not even unpacked those boxes. So I don't. I don't. It's all a lie. It's all an illusion. What is my dream project? What is my dream project? I have 2. One I just came across really recently, and it is to make this Grim Reaper outfit, because this is my insides and I want it to be my outsides. This is my personality. 100%. This is my personality. Cute little pink, lovey, Valentine's Day girliness, and then Grim Reaper gothness. That is me. That is my insides, that's my thoughts and feelings, and I want it to be my outside. Would love that dress, that outfit. I just don't know how to execute it yet. B is probably a project that has been on my project list since I was a very little girl. The Angel Princess Barbie from 1996. I had this Barbie growing up, and I don't actually remember her having wings. That's the weird part. I don't remember her having wings. I might still have the wings, my sister might still have the wings, the wings might have died. I don't remember her ever having wings. The dress, on the other hand, I decided probably when I was like 9-10 years old, I wanted this for a wedding dress. And I have kept that Barbie and I have kept that dress in pristine condition because I wanted to replicate that when I got married. I didn't, because obviously I've been married for a really long time and I didn't make that dress or have my mother make that dress for my wedding. But one day, I'm gonna make that dress and I'm gonna redo my vows in that dress, or something very similar to that, dress. But yeah, that's my dream project. That's been my dream project for most of my life. What else do I do besides sewing? Name it. If it's arts and craft wise, name it, and I've probably done it or probably do it. I do a lot of beadwork, I do polymer clay, I do resin work, I do painting, drawing, embroidery, hand embroidery. I actually hate hand embroidery, but I do hand embroidery. I can do embroidery on the sewing machine. I will not name it arts and craft wise, and I probably have done it at least once in my life, and probably can't do it. I I also do a lot of gardening. My husband wanted me to say that. I also do a lot of gardening, if you haven't noticed from the plants that are in my sewing room. I do a lot of gardening. A lot of gardening. I love plants and I love growing things. What do I hate making the most? Zippers. I hate putting zippers in. 100%. I hate zippers with a dire passion. I can do buttons. Buttons, I love to do. Zippers, nightmare. And crocheting. Crocheting. I hate crocheting. I cannot figure out how to crochet or knit if my life depended on it. Like, I have learned how to do those since I was like 11 or 12. I learned how to crochet and knit, and I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't figure it out. That's the only thing I have not been able to master art-wise. Oh, well, I shouldn't say the only thing, because next question. What is something I would love to do but can't or do not know how? Glass. Stained glass, glass blowing, anything with glass. I have wanted to learn how to glass blow, I don't know, since I was very, very, very little. Like, my earliest thoughts is wanting to learn how to glass blow. Before, I don't know, this is some of my youngest childhood and earliest memories is wanting to know how to glass blow. But I have spent my whole life with my mother telling me, no, maybe when you get older and you're not such a spaz, okay, she didn't call me a spaz, but you know, maybe when I get older and I'm a little more mature and a little more self-aware. And then I got married and my husband would tell me, still tells me no, because I'm too accident prone, and says no glass, nothing glass, no stained glass, no glass blowing, nothing on the glass persuasion, because I am accident prone and a spaz and a klutz and have no spatial awareness. So no glass. The other thing I would probably really, really want to know, and I do hopefully one day want to take classes on learning how to do, is making shoes, preferably more high heels. I have 1,000 high heels ideas that I would love to make come to life. But I also feel like that might be a new addiction in my life if I learn how to make heels. What is my favorite part of sewing or making crafts? This is the same answer I will probably have for my whole entire life. Having my ideas and thoughts come to life. There's nothing cooler than having this idea and this dream or this vision in your mind and seeing it come to real life. See it being pulled out of your brain and being there right in front of your eyes. Something tangible, something you can touch and feel and see, and no longer be just this 3D object in your head. That is probably my favorite thing, is having my ideas come to life. Which is why I've always been hooked on doing crafts or sewing. Or what are some future sewing projects I have? I have a lot of dresses that I want to alter and change. And I do plan on working on those here soon. I would like to make some more 1950s Disney-bound dresses. Like I said, I also have the nurse costume that I would like to redo. I have a couple of other projects that I never finished that I would like to finish. I need to make more winter dresses. I would like to be warm in the winter wearing my dresses, so I would like to make some more winter dresses. I have some more plant projects that I would like to do, so I might do those here soon. Yeah, things like that. What are the future plans I have for this channel? Right now, my only future plan is just to try to put out at least 2 videos every month from now till November. I don't think I'll put any out in December because A, seasonal depression is really, really bad, and D, December is a really, really, really busy month for everybody. So, yeah, I don't plan on putting any videos out in December, but yeah. At least from now till the end of November, put out 2 videos every month is my goal, or what I would like to do. And then after that, hopefully just continue putting out 2 videos every month. And then sometimes it'll be sewing, sometimes it'll be craft, maybe it'll be gardening, maybe it'll be something weird like this and continue on and making birthday cakes every April. But yeah, that's really my only plans for this channel, is just try to continue putting out videos. If you guys haven't noticed while I've been decorating the cake and talking to you, that I don't actually own a turntable, or those little cake turntable tops. So that's why this reveal is just photos of all the sides. So I hope you guys are okay with that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed getting to know me a little bit better with your questions. And yeah, I know this isn't normally my normal content. I feel like nothing is my normal content because I'm new and I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with this channel. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys enjoyed getting to know me. Get to know me a little bit better. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, get the little bell notification. Those things really do help the channel grow. And I would very much appreciate it, and I do appreciate those who've already done that. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!